Hey, good morning, everybody.
What's up, man?
Hey, morning, Chris.
Morning.
Hey.
Here I am.
Close it full screen.
There we go. Oh,
That's it. Hey,
how you doing,
people are
Brian?
popping in. What's that?
I said, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
Got my Gene Schwartz mug. I'm ready to go.
Mm.
I want to I'll ask a question before we get started. Anybody have any, just, well, we'll do this again on the last call, but just curious if anybody has any general impressions before we get into office hours and specifics about your business. Um, Any impressions about the boot camp, things you think we could have done better to this point, um, things you like, didn't like, any, major epiphanies you've had, any kind of shared knowledge? Anybody just want to do some sharing? Because we're doing a lot of talking here, and you guys have been really participatory, so it's been great. But I just want to get a sense of, how it's landing for you. Um, and we're really flexible too. I mean, this is the eighth one, and we change it each time, so it's not like it's stagnant.
Yeah,
So anybody
I'll
just
uh
want to
I'll
go
share a
ahead?
couple things, Brian.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is my second time through, and I've been in and around direct response since 2005, done a lot of things like this. I really like it's a perfect blend of tactical. So I've actually sat down, written all my headlines, written a lead, and now I'm in the body of the TSL based on the boot camp, which is pretty awesome. So you get tactical skills, but it's not just the tactical, it's also the why behind why you're doing that. So a lot of these kind of biz oppy type of boot camps, they just teach the tactics, but they don't teach you the why behind it. And once you can grasp the why, you can sit down and look at Gene's book or the resources you guys have around that and say, oh my God, I can write an entire sales letter now. I'm no longer chained to hiring a copywriter or doing some kind of formulaic, plug and play copywriting where you're basically just swiping and deploying someone else's sales letter. So I really enjoy the balance between the why and the actual tactics because we're all here to actually implement this. We're not here just being direct marketing students. So that's what I really like
Yeah,
about it. I would
no,
take it a third time.
I really appreciate that because it's funny because I know that Perry Marshall has an expression that he talks about crack cocaine and philosophy, and the crack cocaine is the thing that's the attraction. So Perry is a perfect example. He wrote the book on Facebook advertising. He wrote the book on Google AdWords, and so that's his crack cocaine. But that's not really what he wants to do. I mean, he likes doing it and he likes teaching it, but and you got to have tactics because you got to, as you said, you have to implement. But he's into the philosophy and the strategy and all that. But you can't have one without the other. That's why I really appreciate what you said because, I do think that, a boot camp or, a workshop tends to be much more tactical because what do people join a mastermind? They join a mastermind to make money. Ultimately, people say, I'll come for the information, stay for the inspiration, all of that. And it's true. There's a community, just like this is a community, just like Titans Accelerator is a community. But ultimately, and I learned this from Richard Rossi, who's a mentor of mine, who was the first member of my Titans Mastermind, my $25,000 mastermind. And the first thing he said to me was, Brian, never forget that people join masterminds to make money for their business. So that was always paramount for Chris and I. Yet, we don't want to be all about the money. That's why I started with the story about Gene and how he traded his copy for names as opposed to cash. And so, but you know what? It is about the money because, it is about, being able to get a return on investment for your time and your effort and all of that. So, I'm very appreciative that you saw the blend because that was intentional on our part. If people didn't see the blend, I'd be curious, anybody who hasn't seen it and thinks it's all too much tactics or too much philosophy or too much crack cocaine or too much philosophy. But we try to strike a balance. And today will be about, practical application of what we've done so far in the boot camp by business, like, you know, Zoom Square by Zoom Square, if you anybody who wants to volunteer. So thank you for that, Theo. I really appreciate that.
Square.
And Theo, with you asking the first question as you were talking, remind me of something that I wanted to share too. I think, Brian, this is the first time. Yeah, this is in all the boot camps we've done where we've actually made an offer to past boot campers to come through and do this again. And I know for me, it never even occurred to me. So
Yeah, to
like
do it a
there,
second or third time. We gave them a
yeah,
discount,
yeah.
on it.
And I think that's probably a lesson for a lot of us here, of, you can go back to past customers. They're some of your best folks, even if it's, depending on the offer. But for this, my thought was like, nobody's going to want to go through the same boot camp again. But, you get so close to something and I don't, I mean, I have notes, but I'm not reading from a script for these presentations, and I would inject different ads, and so each one is its own sort of microcosm event, that's special in its own way.
Going through a second time allowed me to carry this headline, subhead, lead, and body copy over the finish line.
Mm,
So
That's really great. That's
the first time, I went through this book, this is not an easy book.
no.
Even last night when I was going through some of the chapters again, I was like, man, there's layers upon layers upon layers of brilliance in here.
yep.
And going through the boot camp a second time allowed me to I guess lift up the rug a little bit more and peer under it and say, oh, a lot of things clicked that didn't last time. So I
Yeah.
would 100% do this a third time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wrote a blog post. It's called I just pulled it up on my screen. It's called Reruns with a Purpose. And I started with a quote from some guy named Nassim Nicholas Taleb, who's a Lebanese American essayist and scholar. And the quote is, learning is rooted in repetition and convexity, meaning that the reading of a single text twice is more profitable than reading two different things once. Um, and then I kind of did a little um, spiel about how I used to watch every rerun of the Odd Couple TV show when I was in college at 7 and 11 every night. And and I came up with a quote. I don't know, I'm sure it's from someone else, but I thought I authored it. It's like a lot of a great thing is better than a little of lots of mediocre things.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that's true in life, I think it's really important to go deep as opposed to go wide. And you can always go wide, but when you go deep, you get so much, I don't know, I get a lot more meaning of, being an expert in this much. And those of you who can't see me, my thumb and index finger are 3 inches apart. And I've done a video blog post about that. No, I think it's called knowing everything about something. And if you want to go to my blog page and pull that up, it's an 8-minute video, a 6-minute video. But knowing everything about something is such a great concept. I just love that.
Yeah. Eddie, I saw your hand raised next.
Hey,
Hey man.
sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
forgot, I
yeah.
forgot I raised my hand. Yeah, I was just gonna say, I totally agree that joining more than once, and I think I mentioned it last time. Like I think I'll be doing
Yeah.
this for a year with you guys because you could really never get too good at the fundamentals. And so it's such a potent refresher course for me, I think. But also it's not like I'm learning things here, learning from everybody on here as well. Um, and yeah, I think that um it is a deep book. Like it is a deep concept. Like there are layers to this shit, you know? So
Hmm.
it's very helpful to go through it more than once, more than twice, more than three times probably. And it's an interesting advertising angle as well. So
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
I wrote an email and a Facebook post to Titans Accelerator today, and just kind of remark that every boot camp group is a little different. And I'm not saying I'll say this one is the best one ever because it might as well be because it's now and it's. But I will say that it's I just have gotten a good sense of the enthusiasm for the book, but also for each person's business when they speak up and they're dedicated to what they're doing. There's a lot of dedication that I've from the people, the accelerators I know are all dedicated because I know them and I know who they are. Not knowing the boot campers going in, I don't know how dedicated they're going to be. And I get the sense that there's a lot of dedication to their businesses. And that makes the group that much better. All boats rise when everybody is enthusiastic, that they're dedicated. And there's some smart people in this group too. There's a lot of insights coming. So I've learned a lot being here. I know Chris has as well. So yeah, we're grateful. A lot of gratitude for everybody. And Eddie, I do hope I'd love to have you join Titans Accelerator because having someone like you in the group, well, anybody can join, but having you in the group based on what I know about you and what I learned about you with your book, I think you would gain a lot by being in. And of course, I'm selfish because, not for the money, but I think getting your insights into the group would be really good. So I'd love to have you if you'll join.
Yes, sir. No, I think it's a great idea. I think I will. I think it's a steal, frankly.
Yeah, I do too.
Say what?
Somebody was agreeing.
Sorry.
Oh, I think
Oh,
Tina was agree. If Tina agrees, then she can talk out of turn.
That's
Yes, I
right.
agree.
no, I think it's a steal. I've been joining other masterminds in the last couple of years, and they are like way more expensive. So,
Yeah, no, that it's priced and we'll go through that later, but it's priced in a way that makes it accessible to almost anyone, and that was the point. I think I
mhm.
mentioned that, when I went from a $25,000 mastermind to a $2,000 mastermind, that was intentional. So I could reach more people, we could reach more people, we can touch more people. And again, having a $25,000 mastermind with 30 top direct marketing companies, you do touch a lot of people that way too, because each of the 30 companies touches thousands, tens of thousands, even millions of other people. So, but it's different ways. I mean, it's like being on the ground, on the battlefield in Titans Accelerator, whereas Titans Mastermind, not that the people are smarter per se, they're just more established maybe, or they have bigger companies, but that's not always the measure for me and for the people in the group. Having people, that's why I never differentiated, even in Titans Mastermind. I had people from Agora in there. That's $1 billion business. I also had copywriters who were making $300,000 a year, and they held their own because they brought so much to the table. And again, everybody knows everything about this much. So, that's the beauty of a mastermind when it works. And, you know, generally I don't think it's luck because I curated that mastermind very carefully. I don't curate Titans Accelerator as carefully because it's a lot cheaper and it's not as it's not as difficult to choose members. But I do want people who want to learn, want to teach, want to be, again, enthusiastic, inspiring. Um, and I tend to curate that just by, and also coming in through the boot camp, it's a perfect way to curate because you're already like, if you're a Gene Schwartz groupie, you know, you're in the game, man. You're definitely in the game. Um,
Well, look, it's infectious. I think your passion for copywriting for direct marketing is infectious. The way you talk
Thank
about
you.
it, um,
Not
you
an
know,
infection, hopefully, but just infectious.
no, just infectious, just infectious. Yeah, and I mean, I am a Gene Schwartz groupie, but that comes from you. You know, I read Over Deliver, and that I remember that page of all the bonuses, all the videos that came with Over Deliver.
Oh yeah, yeah, my
Gotten that.
overdeliverbook.com. Yep.
Yeah, I must have gotten that, when it came out, probably 5 years ago, 6 years ago or so.
Yeah, it was
I mean,
the day after my near fatal stroke, believe it or not.
yes, sir. Well, yeah, thankfully you're here with us helping
I
you. But
am. I
I
am.
mean, yeah, I remember that was like my Bible for a long time.
Oh, that's great to hear.
I
I'm going
w
to make your book my Bible now. How's that?
well, that's the thing. It's just so crazy that you're over here talking. I really appreciate it, man. I can't, it's such a strange thing for me. So I appreciate it very much.
I appreciate you, Eddie.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's do Iran and Eli, and then we'll jump into office hours. So Iran.
Oh, I thought this is the office hours. Like I can ask my question now.
Oh, keep
Or
your
maybe
hand
I'll
up.
wait.
Well,
Keep your hand
Okay.
up. Keep your hand up. We'll just
Okay,
go to
okay.
Eli first.
yeah. Eli.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a great boot camp. Really fun, entertaining, learned a few things, actually a lot of things. It's been years and years since I read Breakthrough Advertising. Of course, I couldn't take away that much from it, and I was a much newer marketing person back then. So this has been really insightful to come back and get the core principles from it. So just general comments on everything. I think it was really cool to have the prompts worked in here because it sounds like that's more of a new feature. So glad to have caught the new feature that just, boils everything down and saves so much time if you can,
Yeah.
instead of doing it all by hand. Of course, I think it's probably valuable to do it by hand at least once or twice. Try to see, how to think through it on your own and then see how AI kicks your ass at doing it.
Yeah.
That's right.
But yeah, general questions. If there's anything else from the book that's really, I don't know, that sticks out in your guys' minds after all these years of, boiling it down and everything. If there's anything extra, of course, let me know. If there's any sort of resources to point me in that direction, that'd be great.
We will. We will.
Yeah. And Niels, is your hand for the office hours?
Yeah, I was just getting in the queue.
Cool.
He wants to get in the queue, man.
All right. Um,
Let's go to
and
Iran.
Tina, same, your office hours?
Oh,
You
no,
want to
you
make a comment?
No,
comment?
I just wanted to make more than one comment, actually, because I'm the kind of person that can't just make one comment. I just go
Okay.
on and on. Anyway, I
Because
think this group
you're a
is,
memoir writer.
yes, I am. Aside from that, I just wanted to say that this is a very inspirational group. And what it does for me is it has bridged that gap of being overwhelmed and not knowing where to go next and feeling like I had to just chuck it all and go back to writing fiction or blah, blah, blah. And suddenly I have a better sense of clarity than I had before. And like I know how to use AI. I stick my nose up in the air as I'm using it, but I do know how to use it better now because of this group. And I had taken Kevin Rogers' AI workshop a couple of weeks ago. So this is like put the icing on the cake or the cherry on the. I've been eating
Yeah.
a lot of
I,
ice
I, I
cream.
tell you, Kevin and I talk about this a lot that, his Copy Chief and Titans Accelerator and the boot camp, that there's
Yeah,
a lot of complementary things because Kevin is focused more on the copy. He's not
yeah.
necessarily a marketer, although he's got some good marketing chops. But we take it a step further, but he's got better copy chops basically on the ground
Mhm.
than we do. I think they're so complementary, and I'm glad you
Th-
did his I'm glad you did it.
They are.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I liked, aside from meeting you, of course, is that you mentioned that you're not a copywriter per se, but you're a marketer first. And I could relate to that. I worked in marketing and sales throughout my entire corporate career, but I'm not a copywriter. I can write copy, but I am a memoir writing coach. I'm a creative writer first and foremost. And so I've always felt like I was stuck in the middle. I didn't know
Yeah.
whether I should go this way or that way. And there's
Now
a
you got
lot
to go
of,
both ways.
right, right. And, I mean, I'm not part of the Harry Potter crowd where I can split myself in two at this point. So I'm working on that one, though, believe me. But many, many years ago, when I was deep into astrology, one of the things that our astrology teacher said was when you're stuck, you think you know a lot, you think you don't know anything, but you really know a lot. Always go back to the beginning, always go back to the basics. And this is not a basics workshop per se, but for some reason or another, it brought me back to the basics of what I needed so that I could move forward. So I thank you very much for this.
Thank you, Tina.
Thank you, Tina.
Really appreciate you.
Okay.
And I think
And
you
I'll
said
see
you're
you on
gonna,
the inside.
yeah, you're going to be on the inside, I think. So that's really great. I'm really glad. We'll get to know you much better in the next year.
You're going to
Yeah.
love me.
I already do. I already do.
All righty. So, if you read my email this morning, or if you didn't, I'll just do a quick setup. So, the way that we do these office hours, we do them hot seat style, and we just kind of borrow from the process that we do in Titans Accelerator, which was really a process born out of Titans Mastermind, and actually, I think Brian from that VIP day of Titans of Direct Response when you guys did all those hot seats, kind of forced to create this structure, and I put it in the email. So you definitely want to, do. You don't want to be the one if you're on the hot seat. Like you don't want to be the one doing most of the talking because you want to state, your core issue or challenge that you're here to get help with. Describe it, set it up. If you got a sales page or anything that you want to share your screen, we can do that. But then try and, focus in on just one question that you think will help if you got a lot of answers to that would help move you forward the most. And as I said in the email, you're probably going to feel, the need to, if you get some feedback you don't agree with or disagree with, don't spend your time defending or disagreeing. Just receive it so we can so that you can get as much input from the group as possible. And if you've never participated in a hot seat, one of the things you'll notice is that even though somebody else is on the hot seat, you're gonna hear advice to them that's gonna be applicable to your own situation. And that's just sort of the nature of these hot seat office hours. So just wanted to set that up for everybody, and we'll give everybody 10 minutes. So I'll have a timer going when you start, and then I'll post in the chat when that 10 minutes is up, and that's how we'll
Everybody
roll
else
today.
should pay attention, obviously, because most hot seats go way beyond the person on the hot seat. So I think I've mentioned that before. There are universals. I wrote a blog post called Clicks on a Dial, Clicks on Your Dial. And basically, everybody has a dial of information that everybody on this call, everybody's got a dial. And you got a dial that something about this and something about this and something about this as you click on the dial. And what happens is what we have today is, 40 plus dials with their relative clicks. So something will click in based on what someone says. And then, I guess we have to figure out who's raising their hand for a hot seat and who's raising their hand to address the hot seat. But right now we've got 3 hot seats up. But if you have something you want to add to the hot seat in question, if you raise your hand and we don't recognize you, just just release your audio and say, I've got something. So we want to get as much input as possible for the person on the hot seat from your dial. And so you're not going to click in on everything, you know. But what I found when I did the hot seats the first time at Titans of Direct Response, David Deutsch and I did 26 hot seats in 10 and a half hours. And it was amazing. Sometimes it's the same click, but a variation of the click. And but we all have clicks. So think about what in your experience you might be able to share. Make sure that what you share, always want to move the room. So in this case, move the screen forward. So something you're going to say that's going to move the conversation forward for the person on the hot seat. And if you do that, I guarantee it'll move it forward for everybody on the screen.
Yeah, great setup. So let's dive in.
I think Iran was first, I think.
Yeah, Ron, you were first. So let's do you, and then we'll do Niels, and then Theo. So, Iran, the floor is yours. What you got for us? You're muted, man. Let's see. You're still muted, Iran. Just FYI. Let me see here. Hang on. Can I unmute you? There we go. I'm gonna ask you to unmute.
I was
There
on
we
mute.
go.
Oh my God.
There you go. All right, now we can hear you.
Okay.
Go for it.
So basically, in summary, like I have a marketing agency, and what I've noticed, like the better clients I serve, like the more value I can provide them because they already know how to sell, they already have a good product. Like I can just leverage what they have and like make them a lot more value. Now, currently I reached a point where I can like deliver good results, but I want to be strategic about my avatar in a way that would allow me to like not bump the prices in like 10 or 20%, but like 2x, 3x at least. So this is basically my question. Like if you were in my position, how would you choose the perfect avatar? And I can also share like what are my best testimonials and like where I'm more experienced if it helps. I think this is like the question.
Okay. Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is if you look back on, all the clients you've worked with in the past, I would guess that your perfect avatar is either one of them or a combination of those. So if you look back on the clients you've helped, you've been able to help the most, deliver the most value, and also that they would have paid you, more than your 2K a month. Do you know who those people are? Do they have similarities?
Yeah. So like one avatar he have like a finance company helping with fundings and loans for business owners. So this is like a very good client of mine. And the other one is the Building Control Institute. Now the thing with this one is like they need to attract like those real estate developers, and like the AOV is stupid high, okay, like crazy. So each deal I make them, like it's a champagne, okay? And this one is like maybe more ordinary, like maybe if I translate it into dollars, like maybe a bit more than $1,000 for a deal. But like this is stupid mass desire. Like so many people are struggling, so many business owners struggling. So when I just write the right ads, like they're flowing without stop. So like if I think about overall quantity of people they need, like the so basically I think like I need to choose between the finance space, maybe this space. I thought about like either finance or providers, for real estate developers. Like this is basically what I thought about. One of these directions.
Do you like one more than the other?
Okay, so personally, I think I like this one more.
So that counts for something.
Mm-hmm. Uh,
Do you have more than one client that you could relate to that category, or is it just one good client?
I have more, like I have another client which also in the money space. I just think, but if I go to this one, so what I do with this one can also be sort like related to this.
Yeah, I could see
This
that.
is like should be a very good case study for me. Like there are only 7 of these in Israel, and like I market one of them, so it's pretty good.
Yeah. That's a more of a not a blue ocean, maybe a green ocean or something. But I think that um, you're in a position. It sounds like that you've got because you have working clients. That's a big advantage, as Chris was saying, that to really go deep with them and use them, because basically, if they're already paying you something, so therefore, you can ask them almost as a favor, what do you see as my value? You can ask the questions that we from the prompts that we did in the homework in the boot camp, ask them because now you've got people that you want to find more of them. It's sort of like, when I was doing direct mail for Boardroom, we had something called regression modeling. And I'm not going to go into the details here. I can go into the details at a future date. But the concept is you have customers, now go find more customers that look like them. That's the broad thing. And you're in a position to do that in spades, especially since it sounds like you have a couple of different relatable category clients that you can then spend some time with. I mean, even paying them to do an interview, but structure it and structure what you'd want to find out from them. Because finding your avatar is not like, throwing a dart at a dartboard. You've got real life, you got live data waiting for you, but you got to get it from them. And you need to, use the relationship to do that. And you can always give them things in kind for the information. So let's say if they're paying, I'm just saying theoretically, say they're paying you, what was it 200 a month or 2,000 a month?
2000
2000.
to 2000.
2,000 a month. So, would you get on the phone with me for an hour? I have a list of questions, and I'll for that I'll suspend one of your monthly payments. I'm just throwing that out there, just so that they'll probably do it for free if they love you and you're doing good work for them. But I'm just saying that you want that information is going to be gold. Anything you get from them, and then you can get more like them by using what they tell you, use their words. Sort of like when we
Yeah.
talked about going on Amazon and looking at reviews and seeing the language that people use. Um, you know, throw the language back to the audience that you're looking for. That's how you find more avatars in your market. I
Mhm.
don't want to dominate this. Does anybody else have some advice or things for Iran that he can do to find more people in his avatar?
I just
Brandon,
went
yeah.
through this. Yeah, I just went through this and I'm in a very similar situation to you.
Okay.
Same avatars, same business model, same
Okay.
even business funding space.
By the way, Brandon's
And
Brandon's an accelerator member, and he's a badass media
Hmm.
buyer as well.
Okay, great. Let's
Yeah.
go.
yeah, I just want to second what Brian said. Talk to your people. They like if you're doing a good job for them, they will be more than happy to answer your questions. I also found that I was severely undercharging, and they were all very happy to pay me more based on the results. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, you need to talk to them, figure it out. There's some AI prompts for like avatars that I can share with you as well based on conversations you have. But just
Okay.
yeah, the
Like,
best thing you can do is talk to them.
yeah. Like I think like when I decide which one of them I want, like then I can go and like do this research. Like my question is like if you have 2 clients which are both good, each in their own way, like how would you know if you want to like which one of these you want more of them? Like if I have two, like the finance and the building control, like how do you choose like
Well,
which one you want
okay,
more of them?
so you need you need to go on an inquiry and not just speculate. So what you need, what I would do, I would do it I would do it old school. I would take a piece of legal paper. I'd put both of the two categories up top. And then within each category, I do pros and cons under each one and start thinking about, just dream about like, okay, and also look at the universe. Like I think you said in Israel, the building control group, there aren't as many, but then
Mhm.
you would be you would be more specialized there, whereas in the second group, the finance, you'd be not commoditized, but it would be closer to a commodity. That's a reason in itself to explore them under those contexts. Because the thing is, if you never want to be a commodity, because then you're only selling on price. So you really want to figure out how specialty can you be in each of those two categories. Now it might be, since it's only two, and you have two great success stories, it sounds like. Sounds like these are two good success stories. It's not. Remember when I said in Maze 2.0 that Perry Marshall said, go for media in each quadrant so that you'll feel like you're everywhere. Don't do 12 in each quadrant because then you'll get nowhere. And so you always want to focus on one. But you know what? If it's only two, I would maybe explore both markets, at least initially, without spreading yourself too thin. If you find yourself spreading yourself too thin, because the markets are going to require different sales messages, different list selection, different, affiliate deals if you want to go affiliate, different media for each. So it could spread yourself out thin, but it's still only two. Two is only one more than one, as far as I think I'm right about that, right? Isn't two more just one more than one? So I think I'm not. I'm just trying to be cute about it because it might be both. It might be
Mhm.
both. But I think you need to figure out, where you're going to chase your tail on either one of them. And as soon as you see that it's not going to be as rich as the other one, then focus in on the one. But I think you got some research to do on the
Okay,
marketplace here.
okay. So
Anybody else have stuff for
I,
Iran?
I think my
yeah,
time is up.
so look, I've just got a quick one.
Go ahead,
Brian,
Steve.
to your point about reverse engineering it, like from a practical standpoint, if you just look at, okay, what clients have closed the fastest for me, what have been the easiest to close, what have been the most profitable, and kind of reverse engineer what's common about them. Like one thing I found often is that if somebody's hiring us and they're new in their role, like a new CMO within 90 days, you can get that from LinkedIn Sales Navigator, they've got budget, they've got motivation, like they're ready to go. And so there's some practical ways you can work that backwards. Reach out if you
That
want
that's
to
a
talk a
that's a
little bit more about
tactical thing. Yeah, that's
that.
good.
Yeah, just really like it, and I've seen it work many times. Second thing, real quick, just think about your offer because maybe what you're doing is you're not so much a growth agency. Maybe what you're doing is strategic for your clients. And so if you could build a success fee or something into your offer where it's not about getting them leads, but it's about, look, you want to take your business, you want to double your business in 24 months, let's do it. Here's my basic fee, and then you're going to pay me out of the cash I generate for you. And so it might not be an avatar. I mean, it might be an avatar issue, but it might also be an offer issue too.
Hmm. Okay, I love it. Thank you
Really
very
good,
much.
Steve. Anyone
Awesome.
else?
I think I got enough, like more
Great.
than enough. It was great. Thank you very much.
Chris, what you talk about, just you put in the chat I saw about incentives and revenue sharing, and I mean that's something might be step two for Iran, but I think
Yeah.
it's worth bringing up.
Yeah, just as you're talking about getting these really good results with your clients, and I know especially in the finance and real estate where those are not small dollar amounts that people that you're helping people generate. So, when I look at that, it's like was who's the guy, Ray Dalio in his book
Principles.
Principles talks
Yeah.
about you want to look for your asymmetric advantages, and if you're charging 2,000 a month is not a whole lot probably for what you're generating. So there are, as Steve said, like success participation fees, or performance incentives, or I get a percentage if we hit this target on the back end, then you can earn out a small fee as a kind of a job well done. And I think that puts you kind of on the same side of the negotiating table with the client too, because your incentives are aligned, and you could charge more than double per month for what you're offering, but you position it as, I keep my fees low because I want my success tied to the success I generate for you.
Yeah, people talk the talk so much about being a partner, like someone who's a vendor, and I've written about this many times, the idea of your vendor as your partner, and some of it is such bullshit. I mean, some people are just vendors, you know, but I think that when you really are able to understand, it's sort of like a good example is how I always work with copywriters. I mean, look, they were my vendor, right? They were writing copy for me, and I was paying them to write copy for me. But we started this boot camp talking about Gene Schwartz, about how he exchanged names for package and promotion. And it's the same thing when you pay a copywriter a royalty to keep the package they're writing for you the control. And it's funny because if the copywriter, like Gary Bencivenga, best living copywriter, like as soon as he got a control for me, the first thing he did is like he figured out how to beat it because he wasn't going to let anybody else beat him, you know? And so it's the same thing when you're in an agency situation or you're working on some kind of commission. Really becoming like, instead of like just becoming a paid vendor and becoming a trusted advisor in the business, it changes everything. And then you can work out some kind of monetary compensation for that, even just on everything, as Chris said, everything on top of what you've added to their bottom line. But that's when you're such a differentiator for them. Like there's a barrier to switch for them. Why would I go to anybody else besides Iran? Because he knows my business really well. He's willing to do work on spec once I paid him a lot of money because he knows he'll make more money based on the arrangement we have. I mean, a copywriter the copywriters would originally, the royalty arrangement for the best copywriters was about not charging for the original package. They would charge nothing because they were so good. They knew they'd get the control, and then they could just get royalties. Of course, once the line was around the block to get their services, like Jim Rutz and Gary Bencivenga were the two writers who became the most in-demand copywriters. Once the demand was so great, they charged $30,000 to write the package. They didn't charge before. They still got the royalties also on top of that. So then it was $30,000 plus royalties, and plus once they got the control, they didn't charge to do revisions. Nickel and diming is never the way to go. So I guess I'm giving you some philosophical things here to think about in terms of truly partnering with your clients and not just talk the talk, walk the walk. And you can do it. You can do it. But you need to be, you can't just be a one-trick pony. I mean, Dan Kennedy, when he does his copywriting seminars, he has a guy, like a bum, sitting by the side of the road with a sign, and it says, we'll write for food. Who the hell wants to be a copywriter that writes for food? You want to be a trusted advisor to your client all the time. And that's why I said, I think I was talking with Eddie about this, that, the copywriter that doesn't understand marketing is never going to be all that. They're going to fall short. Now, a marketer who doesn't understand copywriting and knows how to find a copywriter, and that's been my angle, because I'm not a copywriter. I understand copy. I'm not a copywriter. I'm a copywriter wannabe, and I admit it. However, but I know how to find a copywriter, and then I've actually identified things that you need to look for when you interview a copywriter, because I know understand the marketing really well. At least I think I do anyway. Not everything, but I've done some marketing and I've done well. So I figure my track record stands for itself. But I need help with the creative and the copy. But that's the becoming well-rounded, but not knowing everything is really the key to business, I think.
Awesome.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks, Ron. Hope
Thanks,
that was
Ron.
helpful.
Good
Let's,
luck. You gotta.
Thank you very much.
I hope you'll stay with us in Accelerator. I think we can help you a lot.
I would love to. And I would also love to be in the bootcamp next year. It's great.
Well, the boot camp will be, if you're in Titans Accelerator, the boot camp will be free next time.
Let's go.
yeah, man.
Thank you very much.
All right, Nils, I got you up next.
Cool. Thank you, Chris. Hey, Brian.
Hey,
So,
Nils.
hey, the last piece of this was really, really helpful. The market sophistication. I found out that I'm dealing with stage 4.
Okay.
Yes.
I didn't realize that before, and I was like, holy cow, that changes a lot. So this is stage where everybody's heard it all, skeptical, and then
At least it's not a dead mark. It's not a dead mark. It's not stage 5.
same thing. Just by the skin of the fifth.
No, I don't think so. I think there's a lot of potential still.
Okay, so the awareness level is at the problem aware stage. So I got problem aware people in a stage 4 market. And so everybody's heard it all. So my core issue is around how do I get people to raise their hand in this kind of a place from what is it I have to offer, right? The call, the book, the scorecard, a download, like in the dealing with a stage 4 market sophistication, it feels like it's a lot harder to get people to raise their hand because of that skeptical nature.
Yeah, well, I mean, the advice in the book is, you're dealing with in stage 4, kind of embellishing on the mechanism, and so that's where my mind goes. And we kind of talked about this at the end of a call with you before. But I would, without knowing all the ins and outs of your business, I would be thinking about like, is there and they're problem aware. So like, if you were to take that problem and really kind of chew on like a really big pain point for your perfect clients, then think about how what your process is to address it or solve it or get it moving forward. If you go out to the market with some type of nuanced solution to this really painful thing that everybody deals with, and you're making that promise of like, let me show you my method, and it can backfire in some markets, but I think maybe in your market, because you're dealing with people who aren't going to be the ones to actually do the implementation, so it's probably a safer bet to like even just show like this is what we do to solve it, and you would be kind of placing a bet on having the reaction of, wow, if this guy's giving this away for free, imagine what it will be like to hire him. So it could be like, this is how we solved it, but there's obviously a lot more that goes into it, and that's why we need to talk or book a call or whatever that call to action is. But that's sort of where my mind goes, is like really getting tight on a specific problem with a nuanced way that you solve it. And even Paris was talking about involvement devices. Like, can you involve them to help them self-identify of like, yeah, this is a bigger problem than I realized. This guy seems to have a really unique way of solving it.
Yeah, and also remember the key point about if you do an involvement with a quiz or something like that, that's so important. And I think that you have an audience. Those of you who don't know what Nils does, he's a business coach that uses the premise of EOS, but he's got the flexibility to customize it for his clients. Plus, I don't think he's identified like categories that he wants to go deep with yet either. But he's got a couple of things he needs to do, but he's well on his way. Does anybody else have anything specific for Nils on I guess it's getting someone to click on his message for something that they've heard it all before, and I guess it's about business development, business coaching.
The owners, not being the bottleneck, everything relying on them, trying to grow without chaos, that sort of thing.
Yeah, but they're all like cliches now. So
Yeah.
how do you get past that noise? Anybody have anything for Nils on that? Maybe a copy platform of some sort, or um,
Sure. Hey, Brian. So, I've got a couple clients that are in similar type spaces, and it's come back to um, finding a unique insight that's counterintuitive to the conventional wisdom that's true. So, for example, and again, this is getting kind of tactical here, but like digital transformations for big companies, people think, hey, the more we spend, the more we get. There's actually an inverse relationship. It's actually the more you spend and the more time you take, the less you get, and the more likely it's going to fail, right? So it really comes back to knowing your market and knowing these specific problems. And I think, Nils, like one strategy for you could be to get very narrowly focused on one particular type of client where you really know what the problems are for them. And then you can, unlock that little nugget. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Steve.
That's a great point about coming up with a counterintuitive um, positioning. And actually, I would ask AI at ChatGPT to help
Yeah.
come up with that too.
and also, this will sound too simple, but it's not. You working off cliches. So it's sort of like, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But the counterintuitive thing, working off something that's sort of like a rule of thumb, or that's the counterintuitive piece. But then also your headline or your subject line or your lead having something that works off some kind of cliche that everybody knows can really get through the clutter a little bit, because that's as Gene says, what's the purpose of a headline? And if he was doing email, he never did email, but if he was doing email, he'd say subject line. How do you make them stop in their tracks? And that's going to be the one of the keys for you. And you have to test a lot of things and see
Yeah.
what resonates. I think, you know, you might want to do a formal hot seat inside Titan's Accelerator once you
Yeah.
get some, because you're already a member, which is great. You can do a hot seat there, but also look at some things that you're trying or things that you're thinking about. So, and it's sort of like tomorrow in the Titans Accelerator call, John Carlton and David Deutsch will be there, and we're going to do these hot seats, pop-up hot seats. But you saw that I asked, there were 3 questions that you need to answer, and then show them a lead, show them a headline, show them a
Yeah.
subject line. So I don't know if you can do that by tomorrow, but if you did that, I mean, again, they're masters at words and copy. I'm not. I mean, look, I do some decent, I've had some good subject lines in my day, but
Yeah.
that's about as far as it goes. Chris has done Chris is better than I am when it comes to writing that kind of stuff. So, you got an opportunity tomorrow to do that, but also to do a hot seat once you do a little more research. And
Yeah.
what are the things you're thinking about, at least test them out with the group and see how they land.
Sounds good. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Anybody else have anything for Nils?
Cool. Thank you very
All
much.
right.
So let's
Thank you, Nils.
take a little bit of a commercial break here. I do want to make sure that all of the boot campers know the offer that we're going to make to Titans Accelerator to them. It's an exclusive offer just for this boot camp. It's got bonuses that we've never offered before, including the one I made up on the fly, this mug. Um, so Chris is going to outline what the offer we're making to you today. I think it's going to expire on May 25th, Chris.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, the accelerators can listen in. Hopefully you won't leave the call, because I want you to see what we're doing here, and you'll see the value, of course, because you're already in the group. And anything you want, anything the accelerators want to chime in with, once Chris presents the offer, we're all ears for the accelerators because you guys are in the group and you can say whether we're lying about what we're doing or telling the truth, and whether the results are real, which I know they are. You can't fool me. So, Chris, why don't you just map out what we're going to offer this edition of the boot camp to join
Yeah.
Titans Accelerator? And it's a really attractive offer.
Yeah, absolutely. And this will take like 5 quick minutes because we've talked a lot about Accelerator on the calls, but haven't we've hinted that we're going to make you a special offer. It's 2,000 a year. We're going to, entice you with a better deal than that. But, one of the whole reasons behind this boot camp, selfishly, one, it does stand on its own. So even if you don't join Titans Accelerator, the goal is that you've got something that you feel good about your investment in and everything that you've received in the boot camp. But it also sort of, it gives you a taste of just what it's like to be inside of Accelerator, working with Brian and me and the members of the Titans family. And so the natural question, and I've just so I can show you this offer here. The natural question is, would you want to continue working with us for the next 12 months? So Accelerator is a virtual mastermind. It's designed for it's taking all of. Originally it was built around, here's Brian Kurtz, this legendary direct marketer with all these relationships and experience over the last 40 years. And so how can, and he's willing and wants to invest in the next generation of marketers. So Titans Accelerator was really put together as a way to do that at a price that we think is really affordable for most everybody. And so I just want to show you real quick what Titans Accelerator is. So we refer to it as, your marketing board of advisors, or Brian also talks to people about how this is like your insurance policy, because entrepreneurship, whether, you're running your own business or you're consulting with clients, it can be a really kind of lonely place. And there's not always a great, we don't always have great resources to go and ask questions of, whether it's contracting issues with clients or you're kind of stuck on a specific problem in your business. And so that's where the community support of Accelerator comes in, where, we've certainly got a Facebook group, but also you've got access to me and Brian to reach out at any time. If you're dealing with an issue, I've been on calls with a lot of different accelerators, just, because they're in the group. I offer to do a quick call with them to help them. And sometimes, sometimes it's a big help. Sometimes it's just like a tiny little shift that somebody needed to see something differently. But on the calls themselves, we have 2 to 3 live calls every month. You guys are invited to attend the one tomorrow. But it's bringing in people that Brian's known from his career. We're bringing in a lot of the OG kind of people who came up in the more traditional world of print media and publishing. And then also, tomorrow's a great example where we got David Deutsch and John Carlton, who came up in sort of that previous era, and then coupled with Mario Castelli and Luke. I forget Luke's last name, but the copy coders, right now they're running a boot camp of their own on how to build these AI bots. So it's a really nice blend in terms of the guests of as Brian calls them, OGs and NGs. And we have hot seat opportunities on not necessarily every single call, but we do plan those out, and we have a form that people submit. And all the past recordings, which I'm gonna go into what some of those are. Those are always available in a couple of different ways. One of the ways is we have this thing called TXL in your pocket, and so all of our calls, it's really, you can think of it like a private podcast. So you can subscribe to this private feed, and you can have all the calls available to you on your podcast listening app of choice, with a few exceptions. Like I think Spotify doesn't work, but if you're using something like Pocket Cast or iTunes, the Apple Podcast app, and some others, then it's a great way to make the calls mobile. So if you can't make a call, usually the next day it's published, and you can listen while working out or in your car, whatever it may be. And then part of what you get as well is, Brian's talked about the Titans Mastermind, 25K a year membership. And he ran that for several years. And so what we've got is just this really deep collection. We call it the Titans Vault. This collection of speakers who came and spoke to that group. Dan Kennedy, Ramit Sethi, Ryan Levesque. I mean, it's just a who's who in the marketing space who came and delivered a lesson in person. And so every month we pull from that vault and we share one of those presentations with you, along with the recordings from the Titan Accelerator calls. But we also help you build your swipe file every month. And one of the things that we notice is that there are a lot of swipes out in the world that you can pull from and take inspiration from, but you don't always know if that swipe actually was successful. So part of our commitment on the swipes that we deliver, they're from promotions that whether they mailed, in print media, something like the one that's going out for April is an ad from the 60s. But we also share swipes that are more recent. But this is just a really kind of trusted way for you to always have something in your inspiration library that that it worked, and you can pull lessons from it. And so if you're kind of looking at it holistically, we mail you out every month a physical package, and inside that package is a USB drive that has the recordings from the call, from the TXL calls. We've got the swipe file, the Titans Vault, and then Brian also writes a letter for each package and just kind of talks about what's in it and shares some of his personal insights. But at any time, so we do have members who, they opt out of the physical monthly package and they just choose instead to just access everything on the membership portal. It's totally your call. But we knew that with Titans Accelerator, we wanted to have physical mail be a part of the experience. And so when you join, we're going to send you something every month from Titans with that letter and the USB with all the content. And then, as we've grown and just kept thinking of ways to make Titans Accelerator more and more valuable, we started putting things together like this boot camp. And so anything that we put on like this boot camp, breakthrough advertising boot camp, there's an over deliver boot camp that we've done a few times. Brian and I also did a training a little over a year ago called Profit Partner Consulting. And this actually is specifically about how do you structure and negotiate upside and performance-based compensation. And so there are, and this is the way that I work with Brian, it's the way that I work with different clients as well. So just kind of going through 4 different frameworks that I've used. There's certainly more than 4, but this is we got really good feedback on this training. And next time we do it live, you would be able to come and attend, but you could also get the recording when you join as well. So you could dive in, and it's a really great training. We should probably do it again sometime soon, Brian, now that I think about it.
Yeah, I think we should do that. And I think we should do another over deliver boot camp too.
Yeah, definitely. So you get free access to all that. And then this past year, we started these TXL accountability pods. Now this Zoom screen capture isn't representative of what a pod looks like. Those are private, so I don't have screenshots from that. But pods are accountability groups. So we limit them to 5 to 7 people each. I think we've got 7 or 8 pods going right now, and they meet on different days. So you're committing to show up for on said date at a specific time, and they're 50 minutes. And there's a structure to them, and those are all about the community coming together. There's a pod leader, And that's really super tactical to your business. And you're setting your goals and you're getting accountability from your group to every week to move those goals forward. And then sort of the last thing that's just, sort of
Just a quick thing on the pods. They're optional.
That's true.
They're not for everybody, but it is, as Chris said, it's a really great way to kind of get more than just the 2 or 3 live calls a month with the entire group. Because when that group meets, we get anywhere from 50 to 80 people on a call. But it is, one thing I will say about our tech, and maybe some of the accelerator folks can chime in the chat, that I believe even when we have like 70 or 80 people on the call, for me anyway, it feels very manageable, feels very familial. Nobody's talking out of turn, and everybody is participating in some way through the chat or raising their hand. And it's interesting, with 80 people on a call, you can actually have kind of some intimacy, which I think is the nature of the people in the group. I mean, so then you get more intimacy by having a group of 5 people or 6 people meeting weekly. But the thing about the accountability pods, you really have to show up and be committed to it. Otherwise, it's not worth it.
Yeah, that's a great point. They're totally optional, if that's not your thing, but they're available to you, as is, this benefit here of, any product that Titans sells, you get a 50% discount. So somebody was asking who Jim Rutz was in the chat, because Brian mentioned Gary Bencivenga and Jim Rutz. One of those products may be the compilation of different Jim Rutz marketing pieces that he wrote, and it's this massive. There's a whole story that we don't have to go into, but this massive collection of winners that Jim Rutz wrote that we sell. I think for $300, you get half off on that. It's a physical USB that gets sent to you, and then you just have in a whole bunch of different niches and categories promotions that Jim Rutz wrote, that you can put those into ChatGPT. You can read them and kind of draw inspiration from them. So these are just the things sort of out of the box that everybody gets, and what we have put together for you guys are a few bonuses that we want to offer as a way to entice you to join us, because the way that Accelerator works is you get access to the content for the months that you're a member. So if you join today, then you would get access to all the content in Accelerator from today going forward. So you don't get access to all the back content that we have, because we feel like that's the fair way to do it, because we've had members who have paid for all those back issues, so to speak. So we don't just give those away when you join. But what we have done is we've created different, we call them catch-up bonuses. So we take sort of what we think are the greatest hits from the Titans Vault collection. And so when you join, through this offer through the boot camp, you get access to this collection of greatest hits from the Titans Vault. The same thing with the last 2 years of swipe files. So 2024 and 2023, a swipe file collection, we give you that as a free bonus. And then Gary Bencivenga's presentation from the Titans of Direct Response. This was the presentation that he came out of retirement for, because of the respect and admiration he had for Brian and for Marty Edelson, who the event was done in his honor after he passed away. So this is Gary Bencivenga's presentation from Titans. Brian mentioned we have members in Accelerator who work with Agora. And one of the gifts that they gave us, this was from Stansberry Research. They've got an internal document that they run their copy through. It's called How to Turn Mundane Copy into Audacious Copy. And so right when you sign up in the Facebook group, and we send you an email with it as well, but it's just this document that basically is a series of questions that you can run your copy through to help make it more persuasive and stand out a little bit more. And then back to Gary Bencivenga, Ken McCarthy did this interview series with him several years ago, and it's fantastic. I listen to it at least once a year, and it's just Ken interviewing Gary about how he worked, what his process was like, how he thinks about approaching copy for a new project or a new offer. And I think on CDs, that's how I have it, is on CDs. We give it to you digitally, but it's like 3 or 4 CDs. So it's a few hours long, but if you're like me, you start listening and then you look up and a couple hours have gone by. It's a fantastic interview series. But then the other thing we put together, so we've talked about before this boot camp, there was the Breakthrough Advertising Study Group. There were several of those recordings. I think there were 7 in all. So we want to give all of those recordings to you as well, including the last one, which was the entire presentation with Paris Lampropoulos that you guys saw a portion of. So that's included in the Breakthrough Advertising Study Group recordings as well. And so those are just a treasure trove as well, because not just Paris, but on one call I know like Kim Krause-Swamm, who I mentioned on the product performance worksheet back on call 2. She does a session where she's leading, and you'll actually see that worksheet. That's where that came from, talking about breaking your product down into the features and benefits and showing the performance of it. And then there are 5 or 6 other sessions with Titans Accelerator members, each kind of speaking from their zone of genius. So that's the standard sort of pitch of what Titans Accelerator is, and these are the bonuses we put together for you. If you kind of put it all together, this is sort of the conglomerate of everything that you're getting. And what we like to do in these boot camps, because you made an investment to be here, for $297, depending on the offer you took, what we want to do is give that back to you, and take that off the price of Titans Accelerator. So normal $2,000 a year, we credit back the $300 that you paid to be a part of this boot camp. And when you sign up through this offer, you can be a part of Titans Accelerator for $1,700 a year. And as long as you're a member, that's the price you'll pay. This is the link if you want to go and see the full sales letter on Titans Accelerator and get this offer. This is going to expire May 25th. And so if you can't join now, that's fine. You can always come back to us, but you would come back at the regular price that we're offering. And we do have payment plans if that was a better fit for you. So still a 12-month commitment, but you can do 4 monthly payments of $500, or you could do 12 monthly payments of $200. So the best deal obviously is the $1,700 all at once for the year, and that's renewing. But we also send you reminders before your renewal to make sure that you still want to stay with us and we don't inadvertently charge you. So that's our offer to join us in Titans Accelerator. We'll talk more about it on our last call, but I guess I would just maybe open it up, see if there are any questions, because I know we want to get to some more hot seats here as well. So let me stop sharing so I can see here.
I think Theo, Tom, and Rasmus are all hot seats, right?
Yeah, they're all hot seats.
Right.
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions, any comments, any? I will say that it's I think that having, if you've been through the boot camp, it makes it even more meaningful. Not that it's not meaningful if you come right in from the outside, but you know how we work, you know what we're about, and that's why, and the fact that you get the money you paid already back, I think is fair. The other thing too, and people here in the group, if you ever create a mastermind or anything like that, I would highly recommend that. And not every mastermind does this, but the idea when it says 1,700 for life, what that means is that once you're in at a price, you're not going to be, bumped up. I was in a mastermind for years at 25,000, and one year, the mastermind leader bumped it up by $3,000, and I thought about it, and then there's another one I'm in that bumped it up by $10,000. And I didn't make a stink about it, but it's something that it's sort of like unstated in the mastermind world, but I realized that it's not universal when I had ended up having to pay more after being in a group in one case, I was in the group for 12 years and I got bumped by, and so you have to look at like the cumulative, it's still 10 years or 12 years of $25,000 a year. And now they're going to make it $35,000 a year. I, I I was put off by it. I didn't leave the group because of it because it's important to me to be connected, but that'll never happen. I mean, I made that with Titans Mastermind at 20 or 25,000. I said, when you come in, even if I raise the price, you'll keep paying what you paid. So that's just very important to me because it's the loyalty of your existing customers. I'm all about the renewals. I don't want you to come in for 1 year. I want to have you for 4, 5, 6 years. And right now we have 6 year members, um, and they're the icons. The Titan icons is the 6 year members. The 5th year members are the legends. The 4th year members are the masters. The 3 year members are the rejuvenations. 2 year members are the renewals. 1st year members are our new members. So we named each year because I really believe that for me, as in my career, it's all about the renewals. It's not about the first order. You have to get the first order to get a renewal, but I want you for life. And I don't want you to be, I don't want you to come in for a year and leave. You can leave after a year if you want, of course, but I just, I want to have an ongoing relationship with you for a long time. That's my goal.
Yeah. And we celebrate those renewals. So every time you renew, you get a nice
Yeah, there's a bonus
gift in
package.
the
Yeah,
mail.
and they're all different.
Yeah, they're all different. So spoiler alert.
Yeah. No, we're
Um,
not going to tell them what's in each one.
that's right. Uh, okay, so that's Titans Accelerator. You guys are in the boot camp, which means you're the perfect fit for a group like Titans Accelerator. If you've enjoyed the boot camp, we just keep doing more of this inside the group. So,
And make sure you come on the call tomorrow so you'll get a real taste for
yeah,
Accelerator. And that's going to be, I think I wrote to the accelerators today that tomorrow will be a call for the ages, but then again, they all are, so it's okay.
yeah. All right, well, let's jump into some more hot seats. Theo, I got you up next in queue.
I love being sold, man. That was a masterpiece. When I sold commercial real estate, I always liked selling to salespeople who were high income earners because they were always so easy. That was good. I like that.
I don't know. Copywriters and marketers aren't as easy. There's a lot of skepticism in general. I'm skeptical about not
Yeah,
about
because the market's more sophisticated, but still,
yes, exactly.
I love being sold, man. It's the best thing, especially with you guys because you know what you're doing. All right, let me get my screen share going here. I got like 9,000 tabs open, so this should be easy. Um, okay. All right, that should be a Google Doc. Are you guys seeing that?
Yep.
Okay. Let me pop back to the Zoom. Oh, I can't find it. I'll just focus on the doc. Okay. So, core issue, I'm establishing whether or not I'm on the right track with headlines given my audience, and then the description. This is just all about the audience. So it's a supplement buyer audience. They're in this third stage of awareness, which is solution aware, and they're in the fourth stage of market sophistication. So I quote unquote discovered a new mechanism to make the promise fresh again. Gene talks about that on page 45. It's not just embellishment. You can also discover a new mechanism, which is what I did. Um, and then per the book, the headline should be the mechanism plus the problem. So that's on page 56. I used example 22 as a model. And what's one question you want to answer the most? I just want to review some concepts that I've come up with in these headlines. So
Yeah.
The mechanism that I came up with or discovered is basically it's whether your blood's too thick or not. And in medical terms, that's called zeta potential. Relates to biophysics. It's a real thing. It has a super cool story behind it. So I took zeta potential and I just renamed it Z factor, and I'm running with that as a mechanism. So the big idea is that the health of your blood is tied to how much energy you experience during your day. So I'm
Mm.
tying your blood quality to your energy levels. That's kind of the whole big idea, and the mechanism is zeta potential. So these are the headlines that I have come up with so far. The first one I was going to test is chronically tired. You may have low Z factor. So obviously Z factor is the mechanism. Chronically tired is the issue. And then these are the other ones that I've got. I'm going to test all of these. Of course, that's always the answer in direct response. You test everything, but am I kind of on the right track here? That's really what I'm looking for.
I like the phrase sludge blood. I think that's a cool phrase.
Yeah, that one is definitely. I keep vacillating between testing this one first. Tired, you may have sludge blood, or chronically tired, you may have low Z factor.
Yeah, Z
Could
factor
could
doesn't.
sludge
Yeah,
could
Z factor
sludge blood
doesn't
in
say
fact
anything
be the
about it.
mechanism?
Um, no, sludge blood to me is more prescriptive about like a condition I might have.
Okay.
Right,
So,
right.
Okay, that answers a question. That's super valuable feedback.
I mean, one of the things as I was just reading your headlines, I was trying to think of, like I had this idea of like, you're driving on the road, and they've got these signs up of like your speed is 45 and it's at 35, so it's showing your speed limit. And I was like, I wonder if blood has a speed limit,
It
of like,
does. Yeah, it does
and
actually.
would you measure that by your beats per minute, to kind of figure out like how fast is your blood moving to even, and of course you would want it to be the self-discovery thing, for them to, a way for them to self-diagnose of maybe their blood isn't moving as fast,
That's a good idea.
as
So
it
like a
should be.
self-diagnostic of some sort.
Yeah.
Okay. I like
Yeah,
that.
I just want to comment that to me, Z factor, unless they know you and they've heard of it before, that seems to be, you know, I don't think that gets you very, very far.
That's what I was wondering, because it's like, so I invented a new mechanism. I have a mechanism already, it works, but I want to come up with a brand new hook and an entirely new marketing angle for a new funnel.
What does the
Uh,
Z stand for?
Zeta potential. Long story short, so if your blood is unhealthy, it sticks together. It's called the coining effect. So it's like looks like stacks of coins and it doesn't circulate well. It's a really common problem, and it's vastly underdiagnosed. If your blood's healthy, the red blood cells, they repel each other like magnets on a table. When you push them, the other one goes away, and they flow freely, and then you have better circulation. Better circulation means more oxygen, which means more energy. So,
Hmm.
and when I go in, Gene Schwartz talks about the importance of proof, after the lead, and I go hard on the proof, and it's actually a super cool story. It goes back, a century, in
Mm.
1960s it was a hot topic, and then it was suppressed by big pharma. So you have us against them positioning and all that stuff, which is huge in this natural health market. But I was, yeah, I was just trying to kind of narrow this down because I'm going to test this next week.
Anybody else have any thoughts for Theo?
Target market. Who are the people who buy this, Theo?
Supplement buyers.
Any specific like age demographic?
Yeah, I mean, they're all women over 35. Most of them are over 40. And in the supplement world, there's only three things you really sell to, which is energy, joint pain, or weight loss. So
Hmm.
this is a trace mineral supplement for energy. But yeah, I would say, I mean, I think my own list is over 90% women, probably
Okay.
95% over 35.
Yes, I mean, like questions that come up as I'm thinking about this, or like, are there things that like if I had this condition, which maybe I do, I don't know, but could you point out things that I might be experiencing? Not just do I feel tired, but
Right.
do you crash an hour after lunch, or probably not this, but like if when I was consulting with an eye doctor, we were thinking of all the different ways to connect. Like if you see floaters in your eye, like that could be a sign of underlying conditions that you may not be aware of. So I'm thinking like, is there something going on in a woman's life, or mid to late 30s, or where they start noticing changes in their body? They don't know the specific reasons why those are happening, other than they just think, oh, I'm just getting older. But if you could connect this this thing that they experience with, hey, this could be a sign that your blood's not flowing as
This is great.
as fast
I
as
got it. Yeah.
yeah.
No, this is perfect. This is actually all I needed because I'm gonna write down a couple right now, and I think that was the key in the lock right there.
Are any of the hands that are up want to comment on this?
Yeah,
George?
just
Tina
unmute.
and George, yeah.
Yeah, what kept popping to mind is falling asleep at a red light. That's why I like the traffic jam one. And also you can tie into, now this might be more with men because they have more of this problem with, say, sleep apnea. But you might just say, hey, look, it might not, this could be actually the issue. You might be taking care of this other thing, but you're still kind of drowsy. So this could tie into the idea that they've tried other solutions and it's not working. And now the sludge blood is probably could be the culprit. But then you could scare them, like, are you falling asleep with your kids in the car? All this kind of like traffic thing, and then you tie it into that.
I really like that.
Yeah,
I'm writing that
finding
down.
something that they might, I don't know if you can get a universal that they might have experienced. Because saying tired, question mark, it gets there. But if you can then make it more illustrative, I think it could be more powerful. The sludge blood thing is good because it's visual.
Mhm.
Um,
Totally like that.
but
Okay.
but you need to, maybe there's a way to emphasize it more. You know, basically, if you're tired, it may not be what you think, or that
Ooh, that's
kind of like,
good.
that's not the exact words, but the
Yeah, but
idea,
I got you.
just kind of play with that. And also use ChatGPT. See what comes up when you go in with sludge blood prompts, you know, and explain it. This is a different reason why people are tired. How can I come up with a unique way to present it, um, using what I call sludge blood or something else, and see what you get, and then reprompt the prompts. So
Yeah.
so yeah.
This
Tina?
is great.
So I don't even know where to start. I have so many questions, and that's why I asked who the target market was. Um, First of all, I love this. This is this is huge. I can't even talk. It's a huge subject, and I could see a lot of money being made. Sorry. Um, but I have like a really good slash high blood oxygen count, but I'm always tired. So there's that. Being tired doesn't necessarily mean it's a blood issue. However, what scared the living daylights out of me was that many years ago, my mother was diagnosed with a um, I'm not sure what it was. It was after she had an operation, and they said that her red blood cells weren't as high as they should be. It ultimately became myelodysplasia, which ultimately turned into leukemia because this is what happens when you get older. So it's a huge issue with older adults, and I don't know where I'm going with this.
Well, yeah,
Now
but
that
I think you're saying that being tired
isn't
is something, but if it's
it's not the
indicative of
only
something
Yeah, no,
bigger,
you're 100% correct. So if you go
right.
grab a couple years of like Prevention Magazine or any of the other old people magazines, you flip through the ads in the back.
Wait a minute, I'm one of those people.
Well, if you flip through the ads, you'll see the ones that are repeated the most are blood circulation ads.
Yeah, but I
Yeah,
mean, it's
it
more than blood circulation, though. 'Cause she had good blood circulation. It was her blood cell count. And so
yeah.
the blood cell count is a major factor. If you can keep the blood cell count within normal ranges, you're not necessarily going to have leukemia and then die because that's what happened. She died. So, the ultimate issue going with blood is if you don't take care of it, honey, you're dead. You're dead. You're
Yeah,
dead in the water.
you just hit on the core idea here is that, your blood is the largest wellness system in your body. Have you looked at how
Exactly.
healthy it is?
Yeah.
Right.
And it's
And
like,
that's
go ahead.
it.
I'm sorry.
No, you nailed it. I really appreciate this feedback because that is the core. That's the big idea, right? Like
Yeah.
in Great Leads, they talk about having a big idea. That's the big idea.
Yeah. And that big idea can go in so many different target group directions that, I mean, it's just making my head spin.
yeah, but he's got to
And
narrow it down, so everything's a
yeah,
great outcome.
exactly.
Right.
And I'm like the global thing over here, but even sludge blood, when you said sludge blood, the first thing I thought about was, the really sludgy coffee.
Right.
It was
Yeah.
like, yeah.
No, this is
Anyway,
fantastic.
I
Yeah,
think we
no,
have to
this
cut
is
this hot seat.
yeah, I have more than enough to run with here. I really appreciate your guys' help and everybody who commented as well.
Thank you.
Theo,
Thank
check
you, Tina. And
I think
Theo,
Gundry
I hope
said,
you'll join Accelerator because we'll continue this conversation over the next year.
I'm going to be in there at some point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me
man.
too.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Tom, got you up next.
Hello, how you doing?
Hey, good.
Hey,
How are
Tom.
you?
Very well, thank you. Thanks for this brilliant opportunity.
Where are you located?
I'm in France, but I come from England.
I had a feeling I thought you were from Brooklyn, but that's okay.
Oh, really?
Accent.
No, I'm kidding.
No,
He's
no.
joking.
I knew you had a British accent.
It's a British accent. No, the Brooklyn accent's way cooler.
Yeah, no, it's not.
It is to me. So I'm going to go through the structure. I'm glad you sent it because I was wondering how I might present this to you. But so basically, I have a client who's also a friend, and he has a wood paneling business, and it's in New Zealand, and it's a well-known company worldwide, and he's setting it up over there. So they have a website, lots of visitors, but no capture of email addresses or any contact, and they have a big list which is kind of not very responsive. So the core challenge that I'm interested in is how can I help him capture these email addresses? And so let me see, where should we go now? The description. Well, what I want to do is make an email flow which offers like a style guide or kind of inspiration, stories from people that have installed it, because there's a few things about it, like it's kind of high quality, it's easy to install, and this email flow will be like a guide to that, and then at the same time it will offer links to the samples and things like that. And I can show you like an idea of a headline for this kind of like email course I've been thinking about. But the question really is, do you think this is a good approach, and am I on the right lines? Because I don't really have any offer to capture email addresses or capture people's attention, and don't have there's no ebook or anything like that, and they basically rely on discounts, and they're just throwing discounts after discount, and the audience is seemingly worn out. They just wait for the discount. When it's full price, they sell a lot less.
This, you say wood paneling business, like that goes on the walls? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's there's a few different types. One of them's got a backing, so it has acoustic benefits to the room. Another one has a kind of flexible element to it. And then there's an outdoor version as well.
Okay. Well, I think you could get a lot from going through the states of awareness exercise where you list out the different questions that people are asking. I think if you were to run through that with ChatGPT, that you would come up with several different ideas that could serve as lead magnets to capture email. And then from that, depending on sort of what resonates, because you'll probably come up with ideas you're not thinking about, then the task is like figuring out how to connect the dots from that to what I would assume is some type of appointment or consultation, of the specific way that I'm going to use this wood paneling. It also sounds like you might have sub niches because you talked about acoustic paneling. So that brings to my mind like somebody's using this professionally, like in a recording studio versus an outdoor patio. So you don't have to answer that. That's just as you were describing it. That's what I wondered, if there are like sort of different use cases for this wood paneling, and those would sort of each, in my mind, kind of have their own funnel landing page that speaks to that specific use case and provides something of value that they can opt in for. But I think you get a lot of good ideas from going through that states of awareness exercise.
Yeah, I've got them. I've done that, and I've kind of got them in this stage 4 where it's a crowded market, so we should embellish the mechanism. And so can I share this headline?
Yeah.
How do you build the list?
And you mentioned making it a niche, like for example, maybe people who are interested in like music sounding good in the front room, and so I've gone a little less niche than that, but I've gone for like Kiwi. Kiwi is obviously the kind of what they call New Zealanders, and then you are a homeowner as well, and that's already pretty niche. It could be more niche, I know.
How did you build the list? Are they like clients or?
I didn't build the list. The company's like quite well established, so the list is already. They have about 12,000 people on the list, and I mean the emails are like really classic e-com emails with lots of pictures, very heavy, lots of links.
What is the purpose? Like what is your assignment here? Are you trying to get them new business in new markets? Are you looking to just expand their business overall? I'm a little lost on what your specific question is that we can answer, because if they have 12,000 customers, that's a database. That's not even a list.
I think you're just trying to re-engage them, Brian.
What's that?
You're just trying to re-engage them, right? But like, how do they end up there? They bought something before and now they're
Are they all customers, the 12,000?
They're either the previous customers or they're people that have bought samples and haven't bought the full product yet.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, I mean, so maybe I could try to clarify it by talking about what I've said I will do is create like a lead magnet on the website. At the moment, people arrive on the website and then they disappear. So they're using paid ads, which cost them money, and then there's no capture of. If they could capture an email address with a guide, for example, that gives
So what do you have there now?
Nothing.
Nothing. Well, that you need something, right? So I'm thinking maybe it's a what are the big pain points for this market? I mean, I think it's sort of like I remember talking to a guy who had a used car lot, and he was trying to get people to come into the used car lot to buy a used car. And what he did was he just sent a postcard out every month to everybody around, because I assume this is regional, right? You have to be, it's close by to the company, or you can do it long distance as well.
Well, it is online and it is e-commerce, yes, but they are looking to focus on people nearby. Yeah,
Right.
it's
So
certainly
they
an
go in
intention.
and they go in and they do installations, I guess, right? Too.
They don't, but they do have like a trade side of the company.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
I don't want to
and
get
one,
into those. I just want to give you a concept, which is the idea of, like, again, going back to being a trusted advisor as opposed to a commoditized, um, a stage four market. You find out what the pain points are and address them and that should be your lead magnet. So I told this used car guy, instead of just sending a postcard out and hoping they'll come and it was just a postcard with the cars on their lot, which sounds like what you have on your landing page similarly. So it's like in beautiful pictures maybe, but it was like what the cars are on the lot this week. Well, they're not ready to buy. You don't know they're ready to buy. So what do you got? You need to romance them a little bit. So what I told him to do is instead is send out, even if, and he had a regional market, so he could just go to zip codes around 50 miles around where the used car lot was, send out a mailing with a white paper that says, the 5 things to know when your used car salesman is lying, or something like that. Something, not counterintuitive, but something that they might think about. Because what are the things you think about with used car salesmen? So what are the things that people think about, stereotypes or whatever, that you can combat with this market? This is how you get to a good lead magnet. That it's curiosity. It's something that wow, I can get that for free. It's a free pamphlet, a free white paper, and you don't really sell them right away. You don't have to sell right away. And in fact, you shouldn't sell right away. You sell with information. You sell with value. So the value is in the content that you give them. There was another guy who was an ambulance chaser, basically a personal injury attorney, and I consulted with him, and he basically got a list of everybody who had an accident. Is one of the states in the United States where you can get a listing of everybody who's had an accident in the last 30 days. So he gets a list of everybody who's had an accident in the last 30 days. It goes out to all the personal injury attorneys, and they all send the same thing. Been in an accident? Call 1-800-SUE. It's whatever. I told him, counter that with information, like send a white paper in the mail. The 5 things you need to do as soon as you have an accident. The 5 things that will prevent you from, collecting on your insurance if you don't do this as soon. Basically give them the information they need. You might not get the sale right away in that case. Everybody's going for the sale right away to get them to invest with the. But I think you want to show that the company you're working for, Tom, is like state of the art. They are better than everybody else. And how do you prove that? You prove it through credibility. You prove it through examples of how and of course testimonials help, but case histories even. We had a guy, Joel Kletke. Remember when Joel Kletke presented, Chris?
Yep.
At Accelerator?
Mm-hmm.
He has this system to get. It's not just getting testimonials and endorsements. He has a way to get like stories, like from the customers, and it's like it's a whole I'll tell you, I'll get you that presentation, whether you join Accelerator or not. But if you join Accelerator, I'll definitely get it to you. I'll send you a link to it as an additional bonus, because I think his presentation, if you follow that with existing customers, you'll get these stories that are so much more than just saying, I love the work you did, or I love the product. It's basically asking the right questions to get the answers that you need, which uncovers the pain points that they had initially. So It was a really good presentation, and I'll get that for you.
Eddie, were you wanting to say something as well earlier?
I'm just super curious about the list. You got 12,000 people on that list. I'm, it reminds me of like that Glengarry Glen Ross quote where he's like, they don't want to step on the lot unless they want to buy. Like you've already got these folks that have raised their hands, that they've stepped on the lot. I just wonder, like, how accessible they are now, how long they've been on the list. Are your emails going into spam? I have a lot of technical questions, I guess, or like, I the health of the list I think is really important because if you keep on sending these folks emails and maybe instead of saying creating beautiful spaces, you just show them a beautiful space and re-engage them that way in this easy kind of effortless way. Because I think that's what direct marketing is in a lot of ways. It's like easy, it's done for you. It's, don't make me do any work right now. Give me something to click, give me that next step. So, certainly not saying that Brian's suggestion is the wrong way to do it, but I just wonder if there's a first step that you can take to
Well, I agree with you, Eddie. It's like he's got an asset called 12,000 name list, and segmenting that list by behavior, what they've done with you, by RFM. So that's recency, frequency, monetary value. So have they engaged or bought from them recently? Have they engaged or bought from them multiple times? And how much have they spent in real dollars? And you can put those three things together to get some different profiles. I mean, when you said it, Eddie, it's like obvious. It's like he's got an asset that's rich with information. There's data all over that list. Some of them might just be, inquiries and stuff, but even those, where did they come from? What are they doing? And
they doing it?
Go ahead, Eddie.
So, Tom, oh,
No, I think that's right. Like, even if it was just an inquiry, what are they doing there? What made them get in there? So I think like the first step is really just figuring out who's on this list, how engaged, how long they've been on there. RFM, everything that
They're at least a product aware audience, and maybe even a brand aware. They might even know your brand. That's a big step ahead of anybody else going out to an unaware market.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they arrive at the website and they're product aware, but they're not quite over the line. So at the moment, people disappear from the website, or
well, you're not engaging them then on the website.
Yeah. So if this kind of like email guide I was thinking it could be like 5 days over and do 5 different rooms and address the pain points within like a guide that spoke to inspiration, but then also talked about, because one pain point is that can I install it myself and will it cost a lot, and the answer is it's easy to install, and so I wonder if I can mix like valuable information whilst also addressing those pain points, and really the kind of the sale will come much later, in a weekly email or whatever. I need to talk to them about that. But apparently even people that buy a sample take a year to buy the product on average. So that's the case for, at least a weekly email.
The answer is yes, that you need to combine content, value, information with any kind of sales message of any kind, but you got to know where they're arriving from, where do they come from. They're arriving on your site. You need to be welcoming. I mean, the fact that they're leaving, I hate to say this, but it's your fault. It's not their fault. They're leaving. Yeah. There's no reason to stay. Give them a reason to stay. And you're already onto it with some kind of a lead magnet that's of value, something of real value, but you need to know what they're looking for, what they want from you, and what the pain points are, and then key that content to that pain point.
Awesome.
Hope
And
that
if
was
the
helpful,
vast
Tom.
majority, I think if like the vast majority of people are getting to the landing page, getting to the website, and you're saying they're not buying, the vast majority of people they need that time to go through the sales cycle, then like really like the website, the landing page, wherever these people are going, like the job of that asset is not to sell the product. It's to get them onto the list so that you can nurture them. So like reframing the way that you look at that landing page, reframing the way that you look at that website as not a necessarily like a sales tool for the product itself, but a sales tool for the next step in that cycle. That could really inform the messaging on there as well.
Yeah, and that's a good point in relation to my position as I talk to my client. I must also educate them to say that this is just the beginning of a relationship between you and your client, your customer. We can't say that after 5 emails they're going to buy, and I must be clear about that. That's just like another point, for anyone who's doing like agency type work. I've had a client who's like, well, you can write on social media for me and we'll see if there's any more sales in a couple of months. And he realized that you have to be clear with them,
Yeah, I think we got to move on this hot seat, but hopefully that was helpful, Tom.
Thank you very much. Very helpful. Really, really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, Tom.
There's some stuff in the chat also, Tom.
Yeah, there's stuff for you, Tom, if you want to look through that. Let's move on to the next one. Rasmus.
Alrighty, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. Okay, so my question kind of is...
Stop sharing your screen, Tom, please. Go ahead. Thank you.
So I got nothing like to share, but like my screen, but I guess the question is, I got this product, the pillow, right? And we got multiple other products that we also sell. And my issue is, how do I allocate my time and focus onto what product? Like, because the pillow is our bestseller, but how do I know like what to focus on primarily, like for like long-term growth, if you know what I mean?
Are your other products related to the pillow? Or
Yes.
unrelated? Yeah.
Same niche. It's
And,
kind
and
of
are you sure that the pillow is your hero product? Like,
yes, sir. It's like 80% of our revenue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, what's an example of another? What's your second best-selling product?
We got a sleep mask, silk pillowcase. We got like some other sleep patches, for example.
So you're all in on sleep.
Pretty much, yeah. Sleep/beauty as well.
And what differentiates your pillow from every other pillow?
It's got this unique dip in the pillow that kind of cradles your spine, so you wake up pain-free because your spine is like aligned during sleep, and that's pretty much what makes it unique,
And so, all right. So then your question is, how much time should you be spending on that pillow versus your other products?
Yeah, I remember Dan Kennedy said this quote about the most dangerous number in business is 1.
Yes, of course.
I'm thinking, do I like put my pillow on the shelf for a while and focus on all the other products and get them to the same value as my pillow, or do I just go all in on my pillow? Because we're starting to sell this pillow in the US as well, so it's like we got Google ads and then we got 4 countries. So it's selling well. It's like most of our revenue. I just think, is it kind of dangerous just having this revenue for just my product? And should I build all my other products to the same level of revenue just so I get more eggs in multiple baskets, if that makes sense?
Yeah. So this is not a front end product so like you could have somebody come in and buy a cheaper sleep mask and then upgrade them.
Yeah. We got multiple
pillow or something like that. Yeah. I mean, I think there are a couple ways to go. Like and the reason I was asking those questions is, I don't know what your numbers are, but somebody comes in, they buy a pillow. That's a high intent of somebody that's really hoping that your pillow is going to help them sleep better at night. So they want that, help them wake up pain free. So those are things that you know about your customer just because they bought this pillow. And then they've already shown that they're going to spend money with you and make that investment. So then one of the tracks I would be taking is like, what does my upsell flow look like at the moment of purchase to increase average order value? And that solves two problems. It sells more of your products that you're talking about, but connecting them to the pain of that pillow solves. And then in your follow-up, the people who don't take those upsells, your messaging is sort of around like you know that this audience has already shown intent by buying your pillow to solve their painful night's sleep or waking up pain with pain, and that's why they bought it. So using just kind of deductive reasoning, like if they accept that premise is that's a good thing to wake up pain free. So then what follows from that? What else could enhance their of your other product line could both enhance their sleep, help them wake up more restful. Maybe there's a routine that they could institute before they go to sleep. Lavender, essential oils, things like that you spray on the pillow or something like that. I don't know what your product line is, but if in my mind, like if I got something working like that, I'd think in terms of like how to build off of that to make it bigger. I wouldn't, and this is just me, I wouldn't first think about like how to get the other products up to the level of the pillow. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. That's just how I would want to build off what's already working. If I haven't felt like I've exhausted that.
Yeah, it's a good question, Rasmus, because it speaks to the entrepreneurial dilemma, right? Of shiny objects, and I get what you're saying. I don't think you should take Kennedy's quote about the most dangerous number in business is one as literally as you are in this particular scenario, because you already have more than one product. So you've already solved that problem. You need to solve for what is we used to have a thing at Boardroom where we had what we call a contact strategy. And it was really when you can identify the sequencing of your product line, you can't always do it, and sometimes it changes. But buying if there's an audience that has insomnia, and you want to just sell the sleep mask on a front end on Facebook, I'm making this up, but you can do that, and that's just basically, and then you get them into the other products. But I think that it's important to understand where your entry points can be given your product line. It seems though that what you have identified is you make the most sales and revenue and profit from the pillow. So the original question was, where do I focus? So I want to get to that. I want to answer that question.
Exactly.
There's a lot of other questions you have here and a lot of other things you need to explore. But I wanted to make sure that I think you're mostly on the right track in terms of focusing on the pillow. But, there might be opportunities that arise in different media. Like if you could do what was the other one besides the mask? I'm just going to use.
Yeah, it's like silk pillowcases as well.
So that could be, in a particular market, that could be the lead product, because as long as you can come up with a unique mechanism of why, if you think all silk pillowcases are the same, think again. And then you come up with why your silk pillowcase you can differentiate from others. That could be in a particular market, that could be your lead product. So I think you've got a lot of things to think about in terms of marketing, but I think you do want to focus in on one for the most part, but there might be opportunities in different segments, I guess is what I'm saying. Does that make sense? I don't want to confuse you more. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, so it's primarily focusing on like my hero product and just building the revenue in the back end with like complementary products, I guess.
Yeah, but also, it's funny when the complementary product can come, don't I guess don't ignore the don't ignore the market when the market tells you something, I guess is what I'm saying. So just
Yeah.
stay alert because something's going to happen as you're marketing the pillow that's going to tell you, hey, there's a sub market for the masks for travel. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you can go in that direction. You don't want to be distracted. And I think it sounds like that's what you were afraid of. You're an ADHD entrepreneur, aren't you?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I even have time to like actually sit down and market every single one of my
No,
products.
I'm not telling you to do
Yeah.
that.
Because I
You
think
let
it
it
will.
come to you. You let the look, you don't create desire in the marketplace. The desire's out there.
Yeah.
Now, how does it come to you? In your targeted marketing, in your segmentation, something is going to happen serendipitously. And then the key is, remember the example I gave, I don't know if you were on the call when I talked about Brides Magazine, about how a market happened on newsstands for Brides Magazine for inner city teenage youth as a dream book. But they didn't
Maybe.
focus on it. They just took what came to them. Because to focus on that market would be distracting from their core market, which was selling 1 year subscriptions to new brides. So it's not a perfect example, but I want you to understand it because I think it'll help you get your arms around. Because I also get the sense you're feeling like you might be having some FOMO, like, fear of missing out on, wow, am I missing out on an opportunity to sell product 2, 3, or 4 first, or something like that?
Yeah, maybe. I think it's just I want to have this feeling of security,
Yeah.
and multiple income streams and multiple medias, and not just rely heavily on one product.
Yeah, I got that. You're not going to, based on because you're so focused on it. So stay there in terms of keep the focus,
Okay.
and hopefully we can work with you again if you join Accelerator. I hope you do.
Yeah, we'll see when John Carlton talks tomorrow. I'll probably
Yeah,
gotta take my money.
yeah. You'll see if it's worth your time.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right. So in summary, you suggest I focus on like the pillow mainly and let the market tell me what to market based on feedback.
Not feedback, but by buying behavior, by how people move. Anybody else have anything on this? I may be saying stuff that doesn't make sense here, but it makes sense to me, which doesn't mean that it makes sense. But
So Rashma, may I just offer, the person who's going to buy this is going to be women, right? Moms will buy it for their children, for brides, and people who are older. The biggest thing that captures our attention is that it's good for our skin. Wrinkles, wrinkles, wrinkles. So if you can make a connection that I need this pillowcase, and then this pillowcase fits this pillow, then not only does my bed look gorgeous, but my face looks gorgeous, right? So sort of I present to the world something that is lovely and smooth and relaxed, that you can make the tie-in between my good, I got a great night's sleep and woke up looking younger. You captured two different pain. Those are the two pain points that women have. So that could work beautifully.
Yeah,
and it would be at a high cost.
Yeah, that's great because like the skincare slash anti-aging desire, I think that's the most dominant.
It's a huge market for women. We spend billions of dollars on our skin.
yeah,
So-
and there's a
Right.
counter thing too. It's like, you have a solution that's not the normal solution for that ailment. So that's counterintuitive too.
Right. And I can use it every night while I sleep for 9 hours, 8 hours, 2 hours.
Yeah, without
Right.
putting gunk on your face.
Yes, exactly right. Wake up younger, wake up refreshed.
Wake up younger with no gunk on your face.
Yeah, exactly right. Like with no, right. And it's less expensive than all the creams we put on our face.
Yes.
Hmm.
Right.
That's a cool angle. That's a really cool
That is a
angle.
really cool angle, Nina.
So I would go there and then
That's-
send me a pillow and pillowcase. I'll test it. I'll be a test. I'll come back looking 12 years old on Thursday.
Looking for a sample, Rasmus.
Yeah, I will.
Right.
All right, that's super helpful. Thank you.
Great. All right.
We'll do one more.
We'll do one more, then we'll wrap.
And we can do more on Monday also.
Sure. Yeah, we got time.
We got to do the presentation on Gene, but then we'll do anybody who wants to bring another hot seat on Monday, please do.
Okay. Golfin, you're up.
Perfect. So basically, I have a supplement for perimenopause or insomnia. And what I've found is that a lot of women are not aware of perimenopause. They're aware of menopause, but they're not aware that, there's a stage before it of perimenopause. So my ads
Can you explain it? What's perimenopause?
A perimenopause is basically, so menopause is 12 months after the menstrual cycle, the last bleeding, basically. Perimenopause is like 7 to 8 years before that. It lasts about 4 to 8 years, and then that's where most of the issues are happening, right? With the hormone swings.
Wow, that's really are there a lot of products in the perimenopause space?
Not specifically targeting perimenopause. They're all targeting menopause. But the issue, so here lies the issue. A lot of women are not aware of perimenopause, right? They're aware of menopause. So obviously my product's targeted towards perimenopause. So in my ad, so the way it works is I have obviously a VSL or a UGC ad, and that goes to a advertorial. So I'm thinking of hooking them in, right, with menopause, right? So, a headline around menopause and insomnia, and then educating them it's not actually menopause, it's actually perimenopause, and here's a root cause of the problem, and here's a solution, basically. That's basically what I'm thinking. But then the problem with that, right, this is the last point, the problem with that is that on the landing page, right, I also want to mention the avatar, which is perimenopause. Do I mention perimenopause there, perimenopause insomnia, or menopause? Because what if they click too early on the video?
I think there's an opportunity here to name it, you name it.
Okay.
Dan Sullivan says, whoever names the game owns the game. So, and I'm just speculating here, but I'll give you what I got, and we'll get some other opinions. But I think that it's sort of like when we were at Boardroom, we sold estate planning books, and estate planning is like an old man's business, basically. It's like, if you're 50 years old, or even, if you're 50 or younger, you're thinking estate planning, I don't need that. I can wait on that. And so what's the urgency for a woman to be aware of this thing called perimenopause? You said 7 or 8 years before they reach menopause?
Yeah, about 4 to 8 years.
4 to 8 years. So you need to make it so urgent that they pay attention. So one of the things that David Deutsch did in one of his packages for estate planning was he basically said, when you die, when you're dead, it's too late to settle your estate. And then he has this subhead of some sort that's talked about, do you know where your spouse is hiding money today? So he got into some things that would be for the 45-year-old, thinking about, make them think about how important this is at a younger age. That's the only analogy I can draw to what you're doing. So I think maybe there are some things, and you know the business much better because you're in it. But are there some elements of perimenopause that you can bring out that says, and let them even take a quiz? Are you experiencing these things? Let them answer yes to all of them. You need to deal with this now, not when you reach menopause. And you don't have to use the term perimenopause to illustrate that. You can call it I'll make it up, but it's make it more accessible language. It's menopause before you reach menopause, basically. And come up with something that said go to ChatGPT, go to a thesaurus, and come up with a bunch of different angles on it. Because I think that there's something big here for you to get that market, to get them more aware, because they don't think they have a problem, right?
So my main angle, right? So mine's just not targeting perimenopause or menopause as a whole, because obviously there's like a bunch of symptoms with that, right? Each women
Right,
varies
right, right.
differently. Mine's specifically just on the insomnia. So they actually know they have, so it's a problem with audience. So they staying up at night. So what happens is they get hot flashes, waking up at 2, 3 o'clock, sometimes anxiety, and then obviously that has like a ton of effects, like
Like
energy
your
wise.
your insomnia is not about you not being able to sleep.
Hmm.
Something like that. You know what I mean? It's like tell them the symptom that they think they have
Hmm.
is about something else that you know and you have the solution for.
Got
You
it.
can pull
Got
that
it.
off.
Hmm.
That would be like, oh, so and then if it's a video sales letter, it's like, so you have insomnia, and you think it's about X, Y, and Z, and you list a bunch of things, and you've got to be to the target market. You got to be
Yeah.
to the, what is it, 40, 45-year-old woman?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but if you're a woman and you're age 40, it's not what you think.
Hmm.
Have you ever heard of perimenopause? Then you can educate them once you get them hooked on the fact that their insomnia, which is a symptom, is not what it is. I'm just spitballing
Yeah.
here, but I'm excited by it because not because I'm menopausal or perimenopausal, because I'm not. But I just want to. There's something there. Any of the women on the call now, can anyone speak to this? And if especially if you're not non-menopausal women, okay, Jill, and Jill's a copywriter. So Jill, am I on a good track here or something? I don't know.
I think if he goes back and reads my comments, I think more research is in order here
Yeah.
because I think the level of awareness is way higher than he realizes because I'm currently getting treatment for this. I knew something was wrong right away. All my friends know exactly what it is. The problem is traditional providers don't think it's real. It's just like wait it out. There's no solution. So you seek alternative health. There's it's out of pocket, it's natural health, it's providers everywhere that just provide hormone treatment. So I would say my algorithm is flooded with memes and jokes and songs and talking about perimenopause and so many options for treatment and healthcare. So, I mean, if you're not in it, the algorithm knows us better than we know ourselves. But I think that once it knows that you're that target, I would say double check that your target market is not aware of this or doesn't know what's wrong with them. They know something's wrong and I guarantee that they've seen
But he's got to trigger it. He's got to trigger it with
perimenopause.
his headlines, his copy, whatever. Who writes your copy,
It's
Golfam?
Me.
yeah. You
You
gotta
ever think about
you
hiring
get a
a woman?
woman. Get a woman.
Yeah.
You can't mimic us in
No, I'm
some
not saying your
things.
copy's bad. I haven't
This
seen
is
it, so I'm not
no,
going to
but
comment
a
on it.
woman could get to the emotion of taking back control. You feel like you're out of control. You don't know what's going to stop it, and it's that you're out of rhythm,
Yeah.
right? So start to think of that idea because our whole
And I'm
lives
not
are
I'm not trying
rhythms.
to create a marriage here,
So
but Jill happens to be a copywriter, so you may want to talk to her at least if she's
Yep.
willing, because she's doing some great stuff online right now. So,
Hmm.
and the fact that she's the target market too,
Yep.
I don't know. Maybe you landed on a gem here. I don't know.
Exactly. But what was interesting, Joe, was that so I did like proper in-depth research through Reddit, through forums and stuff like that. It might be, I'm not sure, like it might be obviously like you says, the algorithm, you're searching perimenopause, you already know about perimenopause, so it's targeting you. But through like Google Trends, like if you see search volume differences between menopause and perimenopause, menopause is way higher. It just might be that maybe they just consider perimenopause as menopause and they bucket it all together with post-menopause as well. Maybe you know more about that.
I don't know. I think, are you familiar with the Holderness family, the husband and wife that like make those parody videos? Like
No.
they've got tons of, she is the same age as me. And I mean, if they're making parody videos about it and people can relate, I mean, I think it's pretty well known and widespread. So maybe your search is broad and the broader population doesn't know, but
Yeah.
women my age know.
And if he can get that market, And
Yeah.
if he gets problem aware women, you're going to sell a lot more, especially if you have the solution.
Yeah. But
What
that
do you
makes it a
sell,
lot
by the way?
easier
You sell
than
supplement?
supplements, yeah.
Yeah.
But that makes it a lot easier than like if people are aware of perimenopause, because that was sort of the issue that I had. Like obviously mine specific with perimenopause. Obviously there are other solutions out there, the main one being HRT, but there are some women, doctors don't prescribe that. Sometimes it doesn't work. There's like you can't use it if you have cancer. There's a lot of like issues with it as well.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Mm.
And it does, so having a supplement that solves like one problem, the sleeplessness is,
Mm.
Jill, are you in the Breakthrough Advertising Bootcamp Facebook group or not?
I don't think I'm in this one.
Yeah, because Golfham's not a member of Accelerator. I don't know.
Yeah.
I want you guys to connect somehow.
Okay, I'll message you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, and I was just thinking, listening to Jill talk Golfwam about, maybe there's a connection since you're targeting sleep and insomnia, like, because you're not saying I'm going to fix perimenopause. That's a
Yeah.
natural part of life. But what maybe an angle is, the connection between the severity of the symptoms and poor sleep. So the worse your sleep is, the more you feel off during the day. I don't know if that's a true statement. But I think that if you're targeting this as a perimenopause thing, you've got to make that connection between poor sleep and the experience of going through perimenopause.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yep. All right.
We're gonna adjourn now.
Yeah, I think we can wrap this up. To tomorrow's call, 11 a.m. Eastern. It's not part of the recordings for the boot camp, so definitely encourage everybody, if you're not a TXL member, to join that one, so you can, and you're thinking about joining TXL. It's a great way for you to kind of see what we're all about. And then our last call is going to be Monday, the 19th at 11 a.m. And that will be looking at sort of how Gene structured his work days, and we'll watch a clip from a longer video of a presentation that Gene gave. So and sort of break that down, and then answer any questions. We can do some pop-up hot seats. Want to get you guys everything you need to wrap up the boot camp, and just want it to feel really successful for you as we wrap up. But yeah, between now and then, you know how to reach us, and hopefully to see you guys on the TXL call tomorrow. All right, I'll get this recording up. See you guys.
See ya.